Hello, it's the 5th week of Lent and this is Extra-Ordinary-Extra. So obviously things are still a bit different. I'm broadcasting here from my home studio and you guys are all probably watching at home as opposed to watching maybe at school or in the other places that you watch Extraordinary normally. And that word couldn't be any more appropriate for what's happening. Things are just extraordinary. Everything is changing, everything's different. But thank you for staying with us. This last week, it's been amazing to connect with so many of you guys in our live streams and on the various kind of stuff we've been putting out on our social media. Really helping just to keep in touch and keep connected during what is still a really difficult time. If you've not had a chance to look at our stuff yet from last week, then please go back and check it out. There's some really cool videos where we've started to explore what it is we can do by moving our youth service online. So please do check them out. And this week, as always, we think about the week ahead. What's coming up in our church. Because even though we can't go to church, we can still be a church. And that is really, really important. There's a reason this is called Extraordinary Extra, and that's because there's going to be a few extra bits that aren't normally in. Each week we're going to have a bit of reflection on Sunday's gospel because it'll help kind of enrich us and connect us when we're not able to get to church or if we're not able to kind of hear the gospel being read or explained. And today we've got Victoria Mullen, who's the lead lay chaplain in one of our multi-academy trusts in our diocese, in the Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Multi-Academy Trust. She's going to do a reflection on possibly the longest gospel apart from the Passion ever. So we'll look forward to hearing from that a bit later on. We're going to show you what's coming up next week on YouTube. For us, on terms of NDCYS Live, we've got a whole raft of stuff coming up with different videos and 2 very important live streams. And we're also going to go through the saints and feasts for this week. This week, there is actually only really 2 feast days, St. Isidore and St. Francis. Not the St. Francis that Pope Francis named himself after, but actually a St. Francis who was a hermit. And I got me thinking, that's actually quite appropriate. Hermits were people who went away from the world and were often living on their own in isolation so that they could connect with God and connect with their faith. We are not used to being solitary people, not used to being isolated, but at the moment we are cut off from our world and our society. We're connected in different ways, but we are alone. And I wonder whether or not on that feast day we can think about how we're connecting with our faith. Maybe we're joining a live stream of a mass. Maybe we're just spending more time in prayer. Maybe we're just spending more time in nature or in the garden. All of these things can be remembered and can really help us connect with that feast day on the Thursday. Throughout this week as well, there's going to be lots of opportunities to connect. And just to remind you, of course, on Monday at 9 a.m, we have what's called now the 9 a.m. Club, which is a chance for everyone to start the week together as a community. There'll be live guests as always. There'll be some live video spots this week. We might have introduced some live challenges for you as well. And then, of course, on Friday, we have Friday Night Live at 6 p.m. just to kind of bring the week to a close. And there'll be fun and games and, again, star announcers, live guests and live competitions. And hopefully you tune into that last week as well. We're going to head over and have a listen to Victoria talking about this Sunday's gospel. And in the gospel, she talks very simply about the resurrection of someone called Lazarus. Lazarus was a friend of Jesus. And Jesus cried actually when he found out that Lazarus had died. Of course, through Jesus' healing power, Lazarus was all right. But at the moment, we are dealing with things that are life and death. We're talking about things that affect everything about our existence and our being. And I think what's nice to know is that not only does Jesus bring healing and hope, but he also understands when we struggle. Jesus cried because his friends were suffering, and we can, when we do get upset, know that Jesus is connecting with us too. So have a listen to Victoria and she will tell us what she thought about this Sunday's gospel.
There's so much that I take from this gospel reading. It's a pretty long one to start with, but there's so much. We could look at Jesus' bravery of going back to Judea, where they'd wanted him dead not that long before. We could look at the fact and wonder why perhaps he left it so long before he visited his family and a man he'd loved so much. We could look at the fact that Martha truly believed and Mary truly believed, and through that belief great miracles happened, and it really does show Jesus as the Son of God. But for me, there's 2 words in that gospel. 2 words that strike me so profoundly, and that's Jesus wept. In this time of confusion that we're in now, it's easy to think, isn't it, where's God? Where's Jesus right now? And I often think of the prayer Footprints in the Sand, When the man looks back at his life and at the most testing times, he only sees one set of footprints. And Jesus said, "My child, that's when I carried you." Jesus is with us today. He feels our frustrations, our worries, our tears. Jesus weeps with us right now. And this is our time, really our time to believe in him and to believe in ourselves and what we can do in this situation, in this time of distance, to know that God hasn't abandoned us, to know that Jesus walks right by us. So in this time, do talk to God, have a conversation with him. Talk to him. He's your greatest ally. He's your best friend. Tell him your worries. Tell him your fears. Know that there's always someone standing right on your shoulder and will always be there for you.
This week, your mission is to think about our word of the week, which, if you're still following the Extraordinary Guide, is journey. We are on a journey, probably the beginning of a very long journey, and we want that to be a journey we make together. So please, as always, hit subscribe, hit the little bell icon, keep in touch with us, leave your comments box in the box below so we know what it is you want and we can make this channel what you need it to be at this difficult and challenging time. And we hope to be journeying along this and with this, through this, with you. That's really important to us. Don't forget to check out the 9am Club Monday at 9 o'clock. Don't forget to check out the Friday Night Live at 6 p.m. on Friday. And don't forget to check out all of our other stuff that's coming up on YouTube and all our various social medias. Yeah, very exciting. And we look forward to seeing you soon.